I think that they will have a pretty competitive regular season as usual, and they will go to playoffs and they will fizz out.
Okay.
On today's Wind Up Wednesday edition of the Odd Coaches Podcast, Dr. Adams and Coach Francis preview the 2021-2022 NBA season. Welcome to today's show. Dr. Keith Adams is the president of the CKA Save Project, a nonprofit organization designed to assist student athletes and the people who work with them through educational and professional development. He is a career academic and athletic leader with close to 30 years of experience on the high school and college levels. He has won numerous championships and epitomizes professionalism. Coach Mike Franchise Francis is one of the most successful football and basketball coaches in the state of Maryland. He too is a career academic and athletic leader with close to 30 years of experience on the high school and college level and is self-admittedly a little rough around the edges. Both men have mentored countless student athletes, teachers, and coaches using their unique methods and approaches to leadership. Both men also share a unique and special friendship that was cultivated often through their unique perspective of life and leadership. Dr. Adams through his extensive educational background and Coach Francis through his life experiences. Can these two men share a podcast without driving each other crazy? Welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is my tag team partner, the Sabu, my Rob Van Dam and ECW, the icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, how the heck are we doing today, my friend?
Oh my gosh, we're doing well. We're doing great. Glad to be here.
Oh yes. After part of this, fans, is just making the boys pop, as we say in wrestling. Well, this is our first Wind Up Wednesday edition of the OCP. We're going to be with you 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every week, as we continue to expand our empire, or at least try to. And on this episode, we are going to give you a preview of the upcoming NBA season. Segment 1, we're going to do a preview of the Eastern Conference. Segment 2 is a Western Conference preview. And in segment 3, we are going to look at what we think are the major storylines of the year. And we've got a new unofficial sponsor, Lindy Sports. This is where we are getting our information from. So I don't even know if they're on Twitter, but whatever. So in the Eastern Conference, we're not talking about every team in the Eastern Conference because, hey, quite frankly, it's not a need to.
No, I was going to say.
So I'm going to rank who I think are the 8 teams that are going to be in the playoffs, and also tell you on the outside looking in. And after I mention each team, I'll let Coach chime in with his thoughts. And that's kind of how we'll run this segment, because the NBA is kind of cockeyed this year. And I think that's going to be kind of the story of the whole year. But I've got the Brooklyn Nets as the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. We've got KD and we've got Kyrie. Coach, any thoughts on the Nets, sir?
Well, I have to.
And that is the thought.
KD is the best scorer in the game right now. We're not even going to say he might be the greatest scorer I've ever seen as far as offensively, all 3 levels, legit. Kyrie, you just don't never know. I've never ever been like, I don't even want to say negative stuff about the young. I'm going to leave it alone, because it's just going all the way back to so many things, like leaving LeBron James and all the craziness. There's always something everywhere he goes. So sometimes he becomes more of a distraction in the sideshow than his actual talent allows him to excel. So.
Yes, and Kyrie will be a part of segment 3 in terms of major storylines. So I've got the Milwaukee Bucks as number 2 with Giannis and Chris Middleton. Coach, any thoughts on the Bucks?
I think Giannis, again, coming off a world championship, like, he's going to be okay. Chris Middleton stepping up. He's definitely tough to guard. And as we said, the East is not really. I'm looking at the teams we have here, and I don't doubt any one of them couldn't go on a run and win the damn conference.
Yes, indeed. Which takes us to number 3, and the Miami Heat with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. What are we thinking about with the Heat, Coach?
They disappointed me last year. I thought after the run in the bubble that the Heat was going to be better than they were this year. I thought Jimmy Butler finally became that leader to that next level, and they just disappeared on me.
All right. We've got the Atlanta Hawks at 4 with Trae Young. I don't know why I have them this high.
I don't.
You know of my love of Atlanta sports teams and the high level of chokitude that they do. But any thoughts on the Hawks? I'm immediately going to regret having the Hawks at 4. I know I am.
Yeah, but I was looking at it, I was like, wow, like, that's just not like my partner. Like, I don't know what that. But Trae Young isn't enough by himself, so I don't even see him as no.
And as you said, these teams are so interchangeable.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Indiana at number 5, and I love the Sabonis kid. Indiana, the thing I like about Indiana is every night they're going to give a consistent effort.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be in the playoffs, and it's just about seeding and slots and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on the Pacers?
Pacers will always be there. I think they'll be there this year, but they will float somewhere in the middle, like you had, like it, at 5. And other teams have injuries that might be able to put them up. And Sabonis is pretty decent.
And for 6, some people will definitely disagree with this, but I'm going to have the Philadelphia 76ers at number 6 with Joel Embiid and all of the people they brought in. Here's the deal that I have with the Sixers. You got too many questions about things that have nothing to do with basketball, and then that affects basketball. So that's why I have them at 6. Not because they can't play, but man, as somebody, again, who has studied leadership, I just want to do the sport and go home. That's what I want to do. And teams that have little to nothing else to talk about, Indiana Pacers, tend to do better than teams that's got a lot to talk about. Although I kicked that theory in the butt because I have Brooklyn at number 1, but I think KD's that good that he's that much of a difference maker. Yes. Any thoughts on the Sixers, sir?
Yeah, it's a circus up there to me. That's what it's been, more recently than anything. It's been like a circus.
All right. And now I've got the New York Knickerbockers, the childhood favorite team of my pops. Shout out to Dad. Not that he's going to ever listen to this, but whatever. They got Kemba Walker and R.J. Barrett. Okay. The Knicks will make the playoffs, and that's about it. That's how I look at it. Anything on your end with the Knickerbockers?
I hope R.J. Barrett can stay healthy all year. I think he's ready to pop. Like, he's ready to bust one out. I think he is. He's a really good player. I think that he stays healthy the whole year and does what he can do, the Knicks will definitely be in the playoffs with Kemba, because Kemba's a nightmare. He's a mismatch every night. So someone like RJ can really benefit from that, and they can benefit from each other as long as they're healthy.
All right. And again, I can't believe I'm looking this lowly at them. And hopefully they can turn it around. But I got the Boston Celtics at 8 with Tatum and Brown. They had a coaching / management transition. And again, just a lot of non-basketball conversations. Any thoughts on the Celtics, sir?
Okay, you can put them with your Wolverines as far as I'm concerned. Like, I just don't pay attention to Boston or nothing that comes out, the stories and the storied history and what they're supposed to do to like the Michigan Wolverines to me. So.
And on the outside looking in, because they do the fancy play-in 7 through 10 games, so we want to throw these teams out there. The Chicago Bulls with DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo Ball. Do you think they've got a shot, Coach?
I can't even. Anything is possible, but honestly, I would put the Bulls over the Celtics, in my opinion.
Okay.
When you have them 8, I would put the Bulls up at that 8 seed.
All right, we've got the Washington Wizards, our local team, with Bradley Beal, the scientific genius from the high-class University of Florida. He's got a chemistry degree or a biology degree or something like that, because he knows so much about science and all of those things. And the newly minted Kyle Kuzma. Can the Zards get into the show, sir?
I think this is a great move for Kyle Kuzma because he was limited in shots and amount of shots in LA when you play him with LeBron, but he is not shy. And if the Wizards can figure it out to make sure he can get shots with Bradley Beal, like he can go. I can see him scoring 17, 18 points a game with no problem. He might take a crazy shot every once in a while, but the kid has no fear. And that's what Bradley Beal needs.
So, one, the Bradley Beal joke will come up again in segment 3 when we talk about major storylines and the knowledge of the vaccine. And 2, is Kyle Kuzma similar to a Sam Darnold situation? The DC media is not LA, and we ain't going to bother nobody. No. So does he flourish in this situation where, hey, nobody's going to bother him? So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And I just don't think the team's very good. At the end of the day, it's still basketball, and I just don't like how they're put together. And good luck to Wes Unseld Jr. and what have you. But I'm just not that high on him.
How long has that been going on though? Like we had this talk way back in the episode, whenever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, mom and pops stay mom and pops for a reason.
Jim Crockett Promotions. All right, and then I've got the Charlotte Hornets with LaMelo Ball, who had an outstanding rookie year. They're on the outside looking in. Coach, do you think they can break through?
Looking in at what?
They got 7 to 10, so we got to have 10.
I was gonna say you had that. Like this is mandatory. I know the East is bad, but are we really talking about LaMelo Ball trying to carry a team to the playoffs?
Charlotte Hornets. Jordan's the owner. He's the GOAT, the greatest.
Playoffs.
And with that, we will take a brief break and come back and insult the Western Conference of the NBA on our NBA preview edition of the Yacht Coaches Podcast.
The vision of the CKA SAVE project is to use the combination of academics and athletics as a catalyst to lifelong success. Thus, the CKA SAVE project works to improve student-athlete academic and athletic performance by assisting student-athletes with transitional and transferable skills such as time management and organizational skills, along with the ability to self-advocate to help improve performance. However, we cannot do our work without the help of supporters like you. Consider donating to the CKA SAVE project. We accept tax-deductible contributions in a number of ways, including Venmo and Cash App at CKA SAVE project, or directly at the main page of our website, www.ckasaveproject.org. Simply click the donate button. We thank you in advance for your continued support.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast, is NBA preview, and in this segment, we will talk about the Western Conference, and it's a lot going on in the Western Conference. So, thanks to our friends at Lindy Sports that gave me the research that I looked at to come up with these rankings. My rankings will be very off, and I'm looking forward to hearing Coach Francis comment on my Western Conference preview. Yeah. I've got the Utah Jazz as number 1 with Donovan Mitchell and Jordan Clarkson. I think Utah is going to play every night, and we're not going to worry about load management or anything like that. And I think wins are going to just pile up, and they tend to play well at home because everything in Utah closes at 9 o'clock. Coach, what are you thinking about the Utah Jazz, sir?
I think that they will have a pretty competitive regular season as usual, and they will go to playoffs and they will fizz out.
Can't argue with that based on the data, which says.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
For number 2, we have the Denver Nuggets. We've got Jokic. We've got Michael Porter Jr. And again, Denver, they're going to come to play every night. We're not going to worry about load management. We're not going to worry about drama and different things. And again, similar to last season, I just think they're going to rack up a lot of wins. And I think they're going to be in the mix, sir. What are your thoughts on the Nuggets?
I like the way Denver plays. I think that Jokic will, and Michael Porter Jr. had, he had a good season. I really like him a lot. He could be a mismatch every night. So I do see Denver. I don't have him that high, but I do see him as a top 5 playoff team.
Okay. And number 3, I am sure the smart marks and the peanut gallery will be very angry at me.
Blasphemy.
But hey, I don't care. The Los Angeles Lakers will be the 3 seed. They've got LeBron James, they got Anthony Davis, and they got Russell Westbrook. And the average age of the Lakers is 39 and a half or whatever. So here's why I have the Lakers as 3rd. And again, this is a basketball thing. It has nothing to do with personalities or anything. One, they're an older team. Older teams historically, Coach, tend to get off the blocks a little slower than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
2, they're fans of resting. And I'm not mad at anybody who rests, whatever. But it's going to be hard for them to clip those wins together. And then 3, I'm worried about injury because Anthony Davis, quite frankly, hadn't made it through a lot of seasons throughout his career. But the one stat that I loved about Jordan, and I'm not the biggest Jordan mark, and you know that, but even when he was 40 playing for the Wizards, he played an 82-game season. He was built and came from that mindset of that was a sense of accomplishment. I don't think the Lakers are going to look at it that way. And I'm not as high on the Russell Westbrook signing as everyone else. Doesn't mean Russell's a bad player, but there's a reason why he's been moved. There's a reason, okay? So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And will they have the continuity to actually get through and be that team that they need to be without these long stretches of injuries or not playing or whatever the heck is going on? But I'll let you provide that insight that you need to, sir, on the Lakers.
LeBron and Anthony Davis will suffer an injury during the season, as it's just history that they have done that. I still believe that they will still be able to figure it out, put it together. I'm not even looking at them the first 15 to 20 games of the season. Once they figure it out with, the experience, you'll start to see them turn a corner. So I give them December. Right around December.
Christmas is usually when they start to play.
You'll see the Lakers in December. I actually have them as number 1 in the Western Conference because I just think every night, LeBron and Anthony Davis win healthy. And then you add Russell Westbrook who can score. Like, he can score. So that allows LeBron and Anthony Davis to take breaks. That man can go on a 10 to 12 point run all on his own, like everybody else just watch. So I think that might have been the best free agent pickup of the year.
And they do have Olympic Melo, who is now bought in to a reduced role. So again, this is not a slight to the Lakers, but I just think, as you said, they're going to take so much time to get going that they're not going to push for the number 1 seed. They're not going to push themselves because they're going to believe, as you said in the opening, we're going to beat them anyway. So why am I going to hurt? I'm not worried about going into Utah and playing. I'm not worried about going into anywhere and playing. We're going to just slot ourselves and just beat them in the postseason. And you said that very eloquently, which takes me to number 4. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
What Melo has to prove this year, don't count him out leading the league in scoring for the first 3 months of the season. All right? If he comes off the bench, seriously, 6 man or whatever, don't count him out for being the 6 man of the year. Don't count him out for leading that category either, as far as scoring is concerned. He has a lot to prove this year.
All right, man. Coach throwing out the gauntlet. And I just want Melo to do the hate drill, man. Can you put a hand up on the defensive end? All right. Just a little thing, man. That's all. Can you at least walk to his direction?
They don't pay him for that.
I've got the Phoenix Suns and Devin Booker and the crew at 4. Same thing. Arizona's nice and quiet, and they're just going to go play and go home. Okay. Any thoughts on the Phoenix Suns, sir?
Yeah, pretty similar. Devin Booker's a star. It's going to be pretty good. So.
All right. I've got the Dallas Mavericks at 5. And quite frankly, I wanted them lower because although Luka is an amazing player, man, there's just something about postseason Luka and postseason Mavericks Dirk Nowitzki's not walking through that door, to quote Patino, but they're going to be in the mix. I'm not disrespecting the Mavericks, but I'm just not high on them in terms of winning a championship. Coach, any thoughts?
Yeah. I put them in the category with them other two teams we talk about. Actually, the next two you talk about, I'll put them with the Wolverines and the Boston Celtics. As far as in my mindset, the next two teams you talk about the same. So,
all right. So again, some people will be shocked by this, but I have a rationale. I have the Los Angeles Clippers at 6 with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Something has always given me pause about not Kawhi Leonard, I'm sorry, but Paul George. And last year, we've had many conversations about, is he elite and next level elite? And Kawhi's already won. And Kawhi's already done whatever Kawhi is going to do. So now I think Kawhi is on a try not to bother me and let me collect check tour. That's just me. Okay, that's how I'm looking at it. Because, hey, man, I got my money. I got my rings. My legacy is set. You chasing. I'm just kind of here. I don't have to talk to anybody. I'm probably not going to play 82 games, and I'm going to be fine. Meanwhile, Paul George, at the end of the day, well, what do you have to show for whatever it is you've done? And I think that is why they're going to be ranked 6. Coach, any thoughts on that? Again, I might be harsh, but no feelings, no emotions, just data.
I think it's been a problem ever since they had that incident with Rondo. I think during the game where he got questioned about why he didn't pass the ball, and it's like, what? Like, there's so much dissension in that team that you don't know who is the lead. Like, yes, we know Kawhi is pretty good. He should be the guy, but he's not going to be the guy verbally, number one. And it comes down to it where Paul George wants to be the guy, but he's not the guy on the court. So you got one guy who's trying to get it done on the court that can't get it done, and the other guy who can do it, who's just laying back on his contract tour, like you said. What, 30 what million? All right, I'm signing. Like, I mean, and I don't blame him. We always say the same thing: get the bag. You know what I mean? We're not going to get the bag. But they kind of self-destruct themselves. They self-destruct, and I can see them even falling lower than that.
Which takes us to a team that I think will be better at the end of the year than the beginning, but I don't think their beginning's going to be very good, and that's why I have them this low, and that is the Golden State Warriors. They've got Draymond, they've got Steph, they've got Wiseman, and, Klay's coming back. Klay Thompson's coming back, but, it's going to take him a minute to get going. So you better hope they don't get the 6th slot, because that's how the Denvers and the Utahs and the Dallases and the Phoenix, that's why you said probably in the beginning that they're going to make it and then somebody's going to bump them. But Golden State's going to get that shot of B12, as I like to say, when Klay comes back, and they're going to be re-energized. But will they have enough wins in the beginning of the season to get them to that point? Any thoughts on Golden State?
I actually got them higher. I mean, I know, your rankings were, I put them up right behind the Nuggets, as the 4th place team, to be honest with you. Like, you can't deny Klay's ability to shoot the ball, and their the way they play. It's a total different style of play, but they're veterans at winning. So I ranked them higher than guys who haven't done it yet.
All right. I like veterans at winning. And 8. And again, we're starting to just kind of see who's going to be there.
Because
I like Memphis. I like Ja Morant. I like how they play. I just don't think they're good enough to really compete and contend. But Ja Morant's an outstanding player. I've really enjoyed him, and I enjoy watching him play. I got Memphis at 8. Coach, any thoughts on Memphis?
Gotta have somebody. I
mean, which is a perfect segue to on the outside looking in. Gotta have somebody. I've got the Portland Trail Blazers on the outside looking in, and I'll just wrap this. I got New Orleans and Zion at 10. Zion Williams, to me, is Lex Luger in 1986. He was in Florida, looked like $1 million. and got him the Crockett promotions, put him in the Horsemen, did everything to make him it, and still couldn't get that guy over. Vince takes him and says, man, he's the greatest thing in the world. We're going to call him the narcissist. That didn't work. Then we said, let's give him the Lex Express. We're going to give him every chance. And I still don't see any payoff, man. So that's kind of how I look at it. I'm not mad as I am. Get all your money. But, I mean, I just don't see it. So Portland, New Orleans, and I didn't even give a 10th team for the Western Conference. If you have one, have at it.
If you have a 10th team, like
they go 7 through 10.
They're right here on the shelf. Like, 10. Let me get one of these.
Yeah, this is the Odd Coaches podcast preview, man. We're not going to lie to you. I'm not going to make up something just to make the segment go longer. Western Conference got about 6 really good teams, and then everybody else is just mediocre.
Yeah, that's the schedule. It's just
So with that, we're going to come back and seriously talk about the NBA and all the issues that we have with it in terms of the major storylines for this year, right after this brief commercial break.
Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project, is releasing a book this fall called Finding the Balance: My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. The goal of this book is to give greater insight into student-athlete motivation to improve student-athlete academic and athletic success through the lens of Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic journey, from being an underperforming student-athlete to an academic and athletic leader. This book is also designed to be a guide for student-athletes, parents, teachers, coaches, administrators, and anyone else who has a passion to help student-athletes succeed academically and athletically. You can pre-order your copy of the book directly from our website at www.ckasaveproject.org. This book is scheduled for release in the fall of 2021.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast NBA preview. And in our final segment, we're going to talk about the major storylines we see as the OCP in terms of this upcoming NBA season. And the first story is Kyrie. Coach, I'm going to let you have the first go because you know I've got a few things I want to say about Kyrie. Any thoughts on Kyrie Irving? Because he by himself is a major storyline.
It's just it's so much. I don't even think we got enough time. We try to keep our program to where, you know, it's not more than 30 minutes. And this guy going, this man, the world is flat, you know, all kind of craziness. And, you know, he don't want to take the vaccination and that's his choice. But don't get mad because your employer asks you to do it. Shit, mine does. You know what I mean? I got till November. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so much, man. And again, I still go back. I just can't see. I'll never, ever, ever be able to look at him for wanting to leave LeBron. Like, how you want to leave, like, something that makes you better. Yeah, you made the shot, but somebody made the block to give you the opportunity to get the shot. And you want to talk about how, you know, you need to do your own thing. Well, we see how that worked in Boston. We're seeing how that working in New Jersey or New York. Excuse me, I take that back.
Brooklyn.
Yeah. Brooklyn. But no. Yeah, so that's my feeling about Kyrie.
So I look at Kyrie from a management standpoint because, as you said, I'm not mad, but when you have talent, you can get away with a lot until that talent is not good enough for me to want to deal with whatever the headache is. And for me as an organization, his level of distraction is not as equal to his level of talent. So now I'm kind of irritated with what he does because it's messing with my bottom line in terms of my team on the court. And as a result of that, my guys have to answer questions that have nothing to do with basketball, and that is a distraction. And once Terrell Owens saw this, Allen Iverson saw it happens in every sport. Once your talent becomes not good enough to deal with the distraction you are, Melo couldn't even get back in the league for a minute because he was a distraction. So although KD is great and they've got a great team around them, and I have them rated very high, what is that distraction going to do? So that is my initial thoughts on Kyrie, which takes me to number 2, and that's Ben Simmons. And yes, I continue to use wrestling references. The time-honored tradition. When you are leaving the territory in the olden days of wrestling, you did the job to whoever they asked you to do, meaning you lost on purpose as you left the territory. Andre the Giant's about to retire. I got one or two good matches left in me. Let's put Hogan together. Let's get into the Silver Dome, 97,000 people, and let's do the time-honored tradition. When I was an athletic director, I understood that I was not going to be there for very long. So you put in your resignation, you make it for the last day, and you do everything you can to make the transition as smooth as possible. Ben Simmons has done the absolute opposite of that. He is Schwarzenegger in the Terminator and flipping the match and throwing it at the gas station. And it doesn't do him any well, and it doesn't do the organization well. You didn't sign the contract under duress. You signed it willingly and openly. So let us show up to work with the knowledge that, hey, I know I'm not going to be here long term, but I'm going to come to work on time. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to get my money. I don't know how you can leave. He must not be married, because I know my wife won't let me leave that kind of money on the table.
Oh, sir.
So that's my thoughts on Ben Simmons. And I had to, take the hot tag first. Any thoughts on Ben Simmons?
I still don't think he's a point guard. I don't care who tell me whatever. I'm sorry. I've been doing this a long time. I ain't never in my life thought he was a point guard till just last spring when my brother told me, he one of the best point guard. Point guard? Who said that? I seen him play in college. I said, what makes him a point guard? Because he dribbled the ball from this foul line to that foul line? I can do that. Honestly, that's just me. It's me.
All right. So the third major storyline that I see this year, we have in front of us a changing of the guard in terms of players, and we have a changing of the guard in terms of coaches. We've got a nice nucleus of young players that are spreading their wings, the Devin Bookers, Ja Morants, and so forth. Yet we've got that old guard still hanging on. And I think that's going to be a tremendous storyline, coming out of this year. Same thing with the coaches. Pop's on his way out. It's a lot of guys that have been around that, man, quite frankly, I don't know how long they're going to be in. And then we got this young group of coaches coming in. So any thoughts on this changing of the guard?
I think we've seen we've started to see a transformation here with them younger guys coming in, and it's getting better. Giannis, he's always been there. He just had to do a better job with some of the things like that. One dribble spin move had to be more. So he actually did that. I'm sold on RJ Barrett. I really like RJ Barrett. I think he's going to be one of those young guys that really, really changed things. He's not done yet. You're going to hear a lot from him. So I think it'll be fine. Devin Booker, another one. Come on. I was high on Jimmy Butler after the bubble. Some of those guys are changing, and Trae Young. So.
All right. And then my final major storyline is who's going to play. There is this ongoing debate conversation in terms of load management and when guys play and when guys don't play. And part of the reason why my top 8 is a little jacked compared to maybe others in the national media is because I'm looking at it from the lens of there are 82 games and who's actually going to play. So you can get a rhythm. I know as a coach, and we will have the opportunity to talk about coaching a little bit more as we do more with basketball, because I always turn that thing over with football to you. But we plan for who we're going to win in who we're going to beat in the championship, and work our way backwards. And it's really hard to get that continuity when you don't have that game action going back and forth and back and forth. So yeah, man, I'm really looking at who's going to play consistently and which guys, which top 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 on a team are going to really get that chemistry going on together. So what do you think about that in terms of load management and the actual playing of the game, because you're a master practice planner? And I'm just not seeing that consistency over the last couple of years in terms of teams that are playing together.
I think the goal for the Lakers, I mean, the way it looks to me from the outside looking in, I have no inside connection to this, but I think they look at trying to get each guy to play like 60 games. They do some load management thing, but about 60 games and at least 40 to 50 of them, 50 at least, as the full unit, trying to, so they can kind of see what they got, I would think. I understand resting guys at, 35 years old, that happens. But this also lets the young guys come in and take over, because the young guys are playing every night, and you hear those names every night. You hear John Moran every night. You're going to hear Trae Young every night. So that's what kind of the changing of the guard starts with. Jokic, I don't know if Jokic is going to be I don't know. I don't know if we've seen the best of him. To be honest with you, I don't know how much better can he be? Just a question from his standpoint, his style of play, his body type, his athleticism. How much better can he be? But you're going to hear about them other dudes every night, okay? You're going to hear about Luka when he's healthy. You're going to hear about it. So I see the young guys playing as we should. Anthony Davis, to me, is one of the old guys. I hate to admit, like sometimes I think he's older than LeBron. So.
Well, I thought you wrapped that up very well, sir. So on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, I am Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time. Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. You can follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.